Hey everyone, Lynn Adams here, and welcome to another edition of In Her Shoes. Today we are going to be talking with a really good friend of mine. Actually, we've been friends for a while now. So I'm going to bring her on, and this week it's going to be juicy. So let's see, where is she? We're going to be talking all about energy and business and all the things. Okay, so she is here, so I'm going to bring her on. Hi, Jenny, I see you. Okay, you're here.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you in this solar eclipse new moon week?
Oh, wow. Well, yes, Monday was like, woo! It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, the energy is big right now. Definitely big.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about. I was telling everyone that we've known each other. You're like such a good friend, and we've known each other for years. And your work has always been powerful, and I just feel like through the years, and you have said it right, you've grown and you've really like quantum shifted, really. But let's talk about, I mean, you could tell them a little bit more about what you do, but I definitely want to talk about how powerful your work is and like why now, and yeah, like all the craziness going on and all the goodness. I think it's crazy and good at the same time, right? So
Oh, I definitely. I mean, the universe was born out of chaos, right? So there is order in chaos and craziness. But I think that what's interesting about the last couple of years, I would say, because I went into this journey over a decade ago, but the accelerated awakening and opening of the work and my gifts and different things like that, I would say really started to gain momentum probably in like 2017, 2018. All of a sudden, there was just kind of a pop. But I think it started with back in 2014, I found a system called the Seraphim Blueprint. And it's an angelic system. And it said that it's been around for, ages and ages, generations and generations. And it was rechanneled by a woman by the name of Ruth Rendley in the 90s. And I found it. My mom had passed the book on to me. And at the time when it came into my awareness, I was already up to my eyeballs in, doing my Reiki work and doing health coaching and, was in that world of learning holistic healthcare, learning how, the energetic connection between thoughts and feelings and physical manifestation of disease. And, that's where it really started to come into focus for me. And then when I found the Seraphim Blueprint and went into that, in 2014, it was like I knew I wanted to go through the whole system and be a teacher of it. And that really was a turning point for me. That changed my life. It opened up all of these things that I'm functioning inside of now. But I had to go into kind of my own dark night of the soul, in order to have the full spiritual awakening that I'm inside of now. And that meant, relationships falling apart, life as I knew it kind of falling apart, including my health. And inside of my health collapsing, I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme's disease. And through conventional medicine, going through the antibiotic treatment and, that usual process that you go through, my Lyme just continued to get worse. And so, there was this part of me that said, Jenny, you know better, like there's more than one thing going on here. And so I started to search out resources that were a little bit more in line with, how I felt about medicine, acupuncturists, nutritionists, nutritional testing, kinesiologists, NATE testing, you know, the energy therapy, all of those kinds of things, and ended up being able to heal my body through nutrition, whole food supplements, acupuncture, you know, tinctures, things like that. So where, you know, the pharmaceuticals kind of failed me in that time, I really was able to anchor myself into this holistic life and started to really realize that I had kind of done this. I had started this snowball rolling through my intention to be a very high vibrational being, going through the Seraphim Blueprint and, you know, going through Reiki and, you know, all of these things that it was like, I kind of asked for these things to fall apart. I asked for my system to break down so I could, you know, go into this place of ground zero and start to rebuild from there. Mm. And so I look at what the world is going through right now. And right around the time when my business really started to pop and even my gifts were opening in new ways, things were getting stronger and more and clearer. And, you know, the energy that was coming through my channel was so much stronger. And my clients were responding inside of healing sessions in kind of a quantum way versus what I was used to. And started to look at where the world was going at that point, you know, and starting to realize like, oh my gosh, like the earth is beginning its descent into its own dark night of the soul. And you can't not be pulled into that. I mean, we're literally plugged into the earth. She's part of us, we're part of her. And so where she goes, we will go. And, you know, I think that's where we're at. You know, I think this year has been a big descent into a very challenging time, dark times for a lot of people. And I do feel that, you know, the globe as a whole and humanity as a whole is going into kind of this collective dark night of the soul right now, where we're all having to go into a new level of our spiritual awakening.
Yeah, so I want to touch upon that. Like, so it's kind of like the veil is being opened and people are really looking at a lot of different issues that maybe they weren't used to seeing, or they didn't want to see, or, you know, keeping it under the covers kind of thing. What would you say to people if they're dealing right with all of that, like all of it, like whether it's job loss or safety and security or going through an illness or divorce, right? Or like a lot of people are going through different things. Like any kind of advice or anything that you would say that would kind of ease the pain or ease the kind of like ripping off the Band-Aid, so to speak?
Well, I mean, this is a really, really emotional time. Mm-hmm. So I think that we're in a space where we're really learning. I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times. People say we're souls having a human experience. I would say that now more than ever, that's so real. Because I think we're all being pulled into a new level of spiritual awakening, like coming into contact with our purpose and our passions, and our belief systems are being challenged. There's a lot of things that are happening right now that, you know, I always kind of think of it, the dark night of the soul, I always kind of think of it as being driven to your knees. And when you're driven to your knees, there's nowhere to look but up. Mm. And, you know, it's this moment where we're looking up and going, what is happening? You know, like, where is my God? Where is my structure? Where is, you know, what do I trust? What do I believe in? Where do I go from here? Who am I? You know, I mean, there's all of these really big questions going on. And in this human experience, there's this huge pop of death vibration on the planet, just grief of loss of all kinds. And I think that we forget, we assign grief only to physical death, right? Most often. And we don't realize that there's change and loss and all of these things happening all of the time. Like even a loss of identity, we grieve that. And you know, this is the resistance of the ego, right? Because the minute that we start moving into change, the ego jumps forward and we have those thoughts in our head, those limiting beliefs that start going after us and saying, don't you dare take another step forward. We're safer back here. It's the evil we know, right?
Yeah.
So we're in these places where all of these things are being challenged. And, you know, we do need to feel our feelings. There's that human part of it where these feelings are coming up for a reason, and they are a very deep navigational compass for each of us. And we need to pay attention to how we're feeling and allowing ourselves to feel our feelings without any judgment. But at the same time, we have to kind of rise above that, because this is where we get to make a choice. And I would say my right now in this moment advice is watch where your focus is. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to, and where are you putting your energy? Are you spending all of your days waiting for the next headline on the news to pop up? Are you focusing on how bad you feel every single day? Are you focused? Where is your focus? Because where you put your focus, you're going to create more of that. So, you know, what I've been focusing on with my clients recently is something, it's like a going back to basics. Like it was where I started 10 years ago when I decided that I wanted to go in the direction of heart-centered living. And so that was kind of like my home of where I lived. And then all of these modalities and things that I was collecting and learning went into that bucket of how do you live a heart-centered life? And, you know, the number one thing is gratitude. And when we find ourselves snowballing into these very difficult places, there is nothing that can pull you out of that place faster than a moment of focused gratitude. And it doesn't have to be big monumental things. It can be literally like, I have clean clothes to put on today. I got up, I woke up this morning. You know, like they can be really, really basic things. I ate a meal today. You know, I was able to feed my kids today. You know, there's always something to be grateful for, always. And if we can spend more of our time putting our focus into the things that we do have, then we have a tendency to start to see more of that instead of the other side. And I think that those simple moments of really paying attention where your focus is can shift your entire day. And it can make really difficult times just a little bit easier to get through. And it's not that you're changing your whole reality, you know, of your full circumstance, but you can change the reality of that moment and how you're feeling inside of your body inside of that moment.
So good. That's so good, because every moment is a gift. Like you're saying, like in every moment we can shift. And I love that. It's like, what are you focused on? That's huge, huge. How are you telling people now how to navigate through this, like now new, you know, what happened on Monday and like, you know, this new portal? Like, what are you advising people that's coming up for people? Because it's a lot of energy, Jenny.
It is. It's really stressful. You know, I was given a vision the beginning of this week. I was given a vision of an escalator going up. And, you know, escalators don't move very fast, but they also don't stop. They keep going, right? And so I was given this vision of us all on this escalator just going up, and you know, inside of my body having all of these issues, like inside my solar plexus, you know, with like digestion and like different things like that. And knowing what I know about the energy bodies and what they're managing inside, you know, each little spinning wheel of a chakra is like a battery pack for that area of your body. And so I'm thinking, okay, my solar plexus, what is that? Well, that's my empowerment, right? That's my personal power. It's my gifts. It's my projection out into the world. It's what am I manifesting? What am I calling in? And knowing that this is where we're leveling up, right? We're being leveled up. Ultimately, we're moving into this Aquarian age, which is all about your God self, coming in contact with your God self. So that's where we have to get to. This is a pretty high escalator that we have to rise, you know, and we're constantly leveling up. And so the body's having a hard time keeping up with that, because it's like, okay, and maybe in our history, we could take 3 steps and then slow down for a minute and integrate those changes. And we're not being given time to integrate. It's like, oh, that thing happened. Now I'm on to the next thing. And it's like, but wait, I didn't even have time to like dig my teeth into that thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that, you know, one of the things that I find myself repeatedly saying to people is to get in your body, like get down inside your body, get out of your head, which is so much, it's very easy to say that, right?
Yep.
But to get out of your head, like get in your body, like whatever that means to you, to figure out how to do that. Is it breath? Like, are you just taking a moment to close your eyes and like breathing down into your pelvis, like breathing down into the body? Are you doing grounding exercises where you're visualizing roots, you know, coming out of the feet and going into the earth? Are you exercising? Are you moving your body? Are you even aware of your body? Are you so inside your head from like you're living from here up, we're like floating heads moving around. And we wonder why we have all of these issues inside of our gut and our lower foundations. It's because we're not even honoring that. Where it's like we've lost touch with it. And so I think that that's where I find myself guiding people over and over again is like get in your body. So whatever that means, and it's going to give you a reprieve from this. You know, I was saying to one of my girlfriends the other day, I feel like I've got 15 people in my head and they're all talking at the same time. And I think that if you're not fully connected yet with a vessel of an avenue to place that energy, right? So like inside of a purpose or a passion, a hobby, you know, your entrepreneurial direction, like wherever it is that you really feel very purpose driven, if we have that and we're connected to it, then we can channel this energy into that thing. But if you're still kind of in the chrysalis and you haven't gotten there yet, then you're trying to figure out what to do with this. And I would say, put it in your body, like get in your body. Because it is something that we have that's physical, that we can move and manifest energy through that. And the adrenals, in order to keep our adrenals balanced, which everybody's adrenals are like all over the joint. The adrenals are connected to our root chakra, and the root chakra is all about your basic needs inside your human body. It's about the air you're breathing, the things you're drinking, the food you're eating, the love you're giving and receiving, the, you know, all of those things. And so going back to basics and being in your body, nurturing that root chakra, which is also about your earth connection, then the adrenals can have a minute, just a minute, you know, before your escalator goes up to the next, the next level.
So good, Jenny, and you're like speaking to me because like, and I think to so many other people, I mean, think about it. Like since COVID, everyone's on social media. Like we're like all in the head. Like how many of us are not getting in our bodies? And, you know, I really felt it. And I made the conscious decision where I'm like, I'm detoxing this week, like detoxing on all levels. And so I'm actually doing a detox right now. Like it's day one. It's a 5-day detox, and I know it's going to help me on, because I was kind of like wonky. I knew I was in my head. I just felt like off a little bit. And I like what you said, like detoxing, and really feeling and getting into my body. But then also it's like detoxing, like you said, in our heads, like how many of us are watching news or like addicted to social media? It's all of it, right? All of it.
And it's not just, when we think about detox, it's not just what we're putting in our mouth. It's all of it. It is, who are you talking to? Who are you spending time with? What are you doing in your spare time? Are you just going from work to your phone so you can play a game and like do something mindless, or like just sitting in silence, just allowing yourself to just sit and be without needing an escape route or a distraction of some kind? It's allowing the body to have an opportunity to detox all kinds of, everything is energy, everything. And in any given moment, depending on what you're coming in contact with, it's going to shift your vibration. one way or another. There was a study that was done where they actually measured the hertz of a healthy body, and the hertz unit of a healthy body, an average of the whole body, because every single organ has its own measurement of frequency, was about 75 hertz was a healthy average body. They actually hooked somebody up to these machines that they measure your frequency, and they introduced negative imagery and music and things like that, and they found that if a person held a negative thought form or emotion in their body for longer, like between 5 and 15 seconds, that you could actually drop the entire average frequency of your body down into the 50s.
Wow.
From 75 down into the 50s. And the vibration of Cancer is like 45 hertz. So you can see just that what you're introducing into your thought pattern is going to shift your entire vibration, which is why I'm offering this, the very simple exercise of going into gratitude, because it's one of the highest vibrational frequency emotions that a human can experience. And so, this is also why I'm super hooked on, nature's energetics. Like, if I could like pan around to show you like what's surrounding me right now, I've got like 15 different crystals, around, like big boys, like I don't mess around. Like these are the guys that are on my, my desk in front of me. I have all of my essential oil sprays. I've got my tarot cards. Like any given moment, I've got something that I can grab onto to shift myself in some way, to anchor myself. And I am a very physical person, like I know this about my personality. It's not, I can't just go into thin air and kind of anchor myself in that way. It's just not how I work. I do need something physical in my hand to kind of anchor me. So I think that's important for people to know too, is like, what are your tools? Is it just things that are in your head? Because when your head is a mess, and you've got 15 voices talking to you at the same time, it's going to be a lot harder for you to go into your archive and find those things inside of your head. So it's like getting your ideas out, on paper, making lists for yourself. Like, these are the things I can do. I love what they're doing in the schools now. My son, my 8-year-old, is coming home with all of these little mindfulness books. And it's like these activities that they're going through in school. And it's like, if you start feeling A, B, and C, what can you do? And they have this little flip book that's always in their notebook. Oh, and they can reach in and grab it. And there's one that's like a flip book, and then there's another that's a pictogram. So it shows them in just instantly, here are 7 things that I can do to bring myself back.
Wow.
And so I think we all need that.
Yeah, adults need that. Well, that's the thing. So what would you say? Like, would you say, well, gratitude number one, like that's one. Do you think it's personalized? Like you have crystals and oils, and is it like what is called to you, like from an individual personalized perspective, like what people are called to help ground them? Would you say?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I know some people really respond to music, like that really grounds them. Or sitting down and journaling, that really grounds them. Some people like to read, that really grounds them. Some people need to call friends and talk, like everybody's a little bit different. I think it's your mode of expression, because, if you're extroverted, introverted, depending on how you learn, are you a visual person? Are you an audio person? I think it is very personal inside of those things, and trying to figure out, and going back to you, like with the power of play, like what's fun, I don't need tools in my practice, like my gift is inside of me. Right. So I don't really need any of these outside things, but why not?
Yeah.
They're fun.
Yeah.
They're fun to have around. And like, if I can pick these things up and play for a minute and redirect my focus and bring myself kind of back to neutral, then, those are really, they make all those really fun things for your desktop, the little Zen gardens and like that kind of stuff. So yeah, it is very personal, I think, depending on your personality.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, because when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, we won't go too into it, a little more details than I want people to know, but you had tapped into kind of like my love life, We won't go there. But you have tapped in. And so I want to talk about, like, you are so tapped in and you have like training and years of training and all of that. And I was like blown away about what you said about my love life, because that one thing you said, I was like, holy heck, how did you know that? So is there anything, because I think people also have those gifts and they're not tapped in, or like we said, like detoxing, or they're not hearing things, or maybe they're cobwebby. And I know you've done years of training and studying and all of that. And that's why people need to go to you also to hire you, because you're freaking amazing. And what would you say has helped you? Like, is there anything that people can do to like go more in, like, you know, listen to their intuition, or because you do it, like Jenny, you're like amazing at it, to how to maybe trust ourselves a little bit more, or the self-trust and the self-confidence? Like, what would you say?
Gosh, I think it goes back kind of what I was saying before about getting into your body, because, you know, I think from the time that we're very young, I mean, the sacral chakra, which is the energy center that sits right below the navel. This is our creative center. This is our passion center. This is our pleasure center. You know, this is where this is our partnership sector. This is where we really start to feel our feelings. And that opens right around the age of 8. And it's inside of that space where it's like this really interesting moment in time. It's like right around that age where we get asked, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right. And we have this idea at that age of maybe what we might want to be when we're an adult, or what we might like to do. And all of those decisions are based on what we enjoy doing at that time. It's like, what brings us joy as kids?
Yeah.
And yeah, we want to do that for the rest of our lives. You know, that's amazing. And so inside of that time, if we all had the right nurturing and the training, we would be able to develop right out of the gate what's called our clairsentience, which is our ability to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it often gets shut down when we're kids, even like, you know, especially inside of family. You know, it's like we all have toxic family members.
Yeah.
You can't deny that. And as a little kid, you can see kids reading the room,
Yes.
like looking at people and like, you know, go give Uncle Frank a hug. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to hug Uncle Frank, right? But we're like, don't be rude. Go hug your uncle, you know? And we're like, but I don't like the way he feels, you know? And so when we're little like that, and it is truth. Like how we feel in our body, that is truth. Until we are trained that it is not. And we are taught that we shouldn't trust our feelings.
Yeah.
That there are bigger rules at play. And so we start to go against our own feelings, and we start going outside of ourselves looking for guidance. It's like, oh, well, if what I'm feeling inside isn't right, then someone's got to tell me how to feel. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of going back to getting in your body.
Yeah.
And being able to feel your feelings, because your feelings really it's like the original spidey sense. There's a reason why it's called gut feelings, because we feel it there. It's like this knowingness. We don't know how we know. We just feel it and we know it. Mm-hmm. And I think that happens first. It's like if you can really get into the feeling part of it, and then starting to kind of understand, like, are these my feelings? Like, did something trigger this? Okay, no. So where is this feeling coming from? Is it coming from another person in the room? Is it maybe, you know, this collective weight, you know, that we're feeling coming in? So I really do think that you don't have to be a well-tuned empath to feel your feelings and be intuitive with your clairsentience. And then once you start to understand the relationship of your body and your feelings and aches and pains and, you know, different things like that, you start to really understand the connection of your thoughts, your feelings, your body. Mm-hmm. Right? Because everything, that's how it goes from our aura. It's like the thought body, the emotional body, the physical body. Mm-hmm. And so if we start to really understand the relationship of those things, suddenly then we start to tune into what's going on inside of our head. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I'm just getting this feeling. Okay, well, can you explain the feeling? And then language starts to come. And that's the more difficult part of tuning in and being able to express, because we all have lots of stuff going on in the throat chakra and doubting,
Yeah.
that self-doubt. Like, well, if I express this, is someone going to think that I'm stupid or crazy or, but it is about really, and some people listening might even be like, well, I've always been really good at giving advice. I don't know where it comes from. It's just when you really tune in and you're listening to what the person is saying, suddenly these things start to drop into your head.
Yeah.
Where are they coming from? And so these are the kinds of things that we're all doing. But I don't know if we're all really giving ourselves credit for the fact that that's a form of channeling. That is channeling. So you're channeling emotional energy, you're channeling thought energy. Not everybody is a really fine-tuned, gifted psychic medium. It looks different for everybody's intuition. And so I think you have to figure that out of like, am I a feeler? Am I a thinker? Do I hear things? Do I see things? Do I smell things? Like, everybody's got it tuned in a little bit different, and trying to figure out your words where your genius zone is, and stop comparing yourself to what other people's gifts look like, and just figure out where your strength is. And once you can do that, then you can start really flexing that muscle, and then it starts to move into other things. Other things just start to open.
I love that. So I know I'm looking at time. So what would you say, any like final, like last words or things that you want to say? And then let's go there first.
It's very cliche. Hang in there. Like I really feel like each of us is really going through a lot of change and a lot of shift right now. It doesn't matter what it looks like. And that we're all going there together. I mean, we can really, really say that now more than ever. And that change is coming. And what you decide to do inside of your own life becomes extremely, very, very important to the collective, because each of us is here on this planet right now for a really important reason. And the world would not be what it is without you. And so it's really important for you to start to go into those places of self-worth and understanding how amazingly beautiful of a soul you are, and that how important you are to the fabric and tapestry of humanity, and start reaching out, finding, I think now, we've been hearing these buzzwords for a while, right? Like the squad and soul tribe and soulmates and, these kinds of things. And I think that now more than ever, it's really important for us to find a community. We're very social beings, and that you weren't meant to do this alone, because if you were, you'd be the only person walking on the planet. So, part of us hanging in there is understanding that we deserve support, we deserve love, we deserve happiness, and going out and getting it. And this is part of turning inward. It's part of taking responsibility for where you are in your life, and knowing that just by what you focus on, you can change your reality. And so finding people, other like-minded people, and people that can support you through that process is really important. It is part of your health. It's part of the holistic mindset, who you're surrounding yourself with. So I guess that's it in its, most cliche, simplest form is just hang in there, because change is coming.
Yeah. Beautiful. So where can people find you? Your services are amazing. Listen, we were only talking for like a couple minutes, and you you went in on me. I was like, Jenny, we have always been connected, like from a soul level, right? Like, 'cause there was like a time where we weren't talking, but I'm like, I always felt connected and like
Yep.
to you. And then there was just that conversation that we had a few weeks ago, and you just went in, like, doing. I was like, Jenny, my gosh. So where can people find you? How can they work with you? And just tell us a little bit more about you. You have so much amazingness going on, your community, all of that. So tell us all the things.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So I guess it kind of depends on how you want to work. If you're interested in learning more about the Seraphim Blueprint, you can actually go to seraphimblueprint.org. There is a book on that. If you're interested in hearing more about that system, it is something that I teach. You can go to my website, jennyisrael.com. A lot of my session information is there. My personal story is there. My class lists are there. You can find me here on Instagram and on Facebook at Jenny Israel CPC. You can reach out to me that way. I have my podcast, Soul Speak with Jenny, on all of the podcast platforms, so you can tune in there. But I do one-on-one sessions in person at this point in the Long Island area. But I do have people that drive in from Jersey and the city and, you know, kind of all over the place for their sessions. So I am seeing people in person. I do a lot of Zoom connections because I have clients all over the country. And I just want everybody to know that even inside of the world of energy therapy, like even a hands-on kind of treatment, this can be done via distance. So, and the results are just as profound. So if you're finding a healer or getting in touch with a healer that you really resonate with, but they're even on the other side of the country, it doesn't matter, because inside of energy, all time and space is happening together right now. So, you know, don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions. You know, I'm happy to do so. But yes, teaching one-on-one sessions, virtual or in person.
Yeah, and I will second that. Like the virtual and in person, the virtual is so powerful. So powerful. I mean, we
It is.
just connected, after years. I mean, yes, I watch you, you watch me, but like we really just connected a few weeks ago after like really kind of being apart, and it was, the connection was still there, and the power of the energy. Like, and I've gotten this long distance Reiki done, like. So don't let it fool you. Like, you don't always have to be in person. Like, so
yeah. Totally. And you can customize. So, you know, if you're not really interested in the energy therapy part, as far as like the hands-on healing, the angelic healing, I'm a certified practitioner of the Emotion Code, which is another trauma release program. Very, very powerful. If you're interested in medical intuition or spiritual counseling and coaching, I do sessions that are just with that. So you can combine all three, you know, which a lot of my clients do, but you don't have to. You can kind of go in the direction that you're more comfortable with.
Amazing. Jenny, thank you so much for your time and your energy and your wisdom. I would say watch this replay again and again, because I don't know if you agree. I always, whenever I watch something like 2 or 3 times, I pick up on something different. So
yes.
Like you never know what you need to hear, and you might hear it in a different way like the next day. So that's my recommendation. So
I would agree. Well, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. I love seeing your beautiful face.
Oh my God.
And this Insta Live thing is really cool. I'm going to have to do more of this. This is really fun.
Yeah. Listen, you can, when you're doing your podcast, you can even do it. I know people that do the lives while they're doing the podcast and then have like YouTube going on at the same time. Like, it's a lot.
Whoa.
But, yeah. It's like, oh my God. But that, I know some people that do it that way. They do the podcast while they're live, and then they just do the YouTube thing too. So yeah, that's a lot of energy, you know, but
it is a lot. Maybe that's in my future. My media manager can help me figure all that out. It sounds complicated.
Yeah. All right. So much love, Jenny. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.